Thank you for having me. What you said about your friend Billy, like, look, we all have loss, right? It's a part of life. It's the worst part of life. And in loss, we usually come together. We find a way to get on the same page. We find a way to remember. The way I got into magic, right? So I was 12 years old, and something happened to me that was just out of this world. And I came home and learned that my father had murdered my mother. And so my sister and I went into intense temporary foster care. And then intense therapy. And then we went into temporary foster care for about a year, my sister and I. And in that therapy, man, life just opened up, right? And all of a sudden we were exposed to the evil side of the world. Now, when I was 12, I'm 41 now. So we didn't have internet, we didn't have HD, we didn't have any of that stuff. So our exposure to what kids have now, you know, a 12-year-old was truly 12 back when I was a kid, right? I was still rolling around outside playing Rambo, right? So then I moved in with my aunt about a year after, and then that's when I got into magic. And for me, I saw a guy named Bill Malone on TV. Bill Malone was man. He was a card guy, world's greatest magic. And he would shuffle cards. He would count cards. Blew my mind. Now look, I didn't know what counting cards was, right? So I didn't know it was like a blackjack thing where you could like go and deal and +1, -1 and have an advantage in poker. I literally thought this guy would just go like this and riffle down the side and like break off 12 cards. Hey, there's 12, there's 14, there's 21. It's like, this guy's amazing. So I literally just sat at home and I'd be like, 25, or you know, whatever it was. So like, just real quick, just name any cards you want. I don't really care.
Ace of spades.
Perfect. Do you want to keep that one or change your mind?
I'll keep it.
Okay. You sure? Because you can change it. So here we go. Ace of spades. So right now, I'm going to try and find this ace. And this is just an example of kind of what I'm talking about. I think I got it. Okay. So the ace of spades is what you wanted. Ace of spades. I think there was one. 38. Right, there's one ace. There's an ace at 14. There's an ace. There's an ace right there in the center. There's an ace. Ace of spades, last one. I'll be right back. It's always the hardest one to find because I've always got one just jammed up my ass. So a little thing. So I'm doing this trick, and it was actually Timmy would do a big thing at the Masters. So we had this event, and I couldn't find this guy's card. I just couldn't find it. And then finally it was on the floor, so I find it. Palm it, I get it, and I just acted like I pulled it out of my ass. Right? And there's an old man, and he'll vouch. He goes, "That was a real stinky trick." But that's where card from ass came. So anytime, if later on I do these little mini shows, if you see me pull a card from my ass, I'm just telling you right now, I completely screwed the trick up. Didn't know what to do. So I go to high school. I thought I was the greatest high school athlete ever. No offers, no scholarships. I went to a junior college. Worst junior college in the country. They were 0-30, which means they haven't won a game in 3 years. So what do? Bam, I'm rolling. Let's go. So I showed up. We lost another 10. Don't worry about it. I won 40. Longest losing streak in college football history. But what happened is I had a guy named Tim Thurman. He was a 6'6" long snapper. Unbelievable. A guy named Nick Heinley, number 48. The guy was a beast. Just knocked people out. And then there was me. We were all white guys, so okay. And back then, no HD or nothing. It was all VHS tape. So I took some of Tim Thurman's highlights of him snapping, and oh, shit, I'll just put those on my tape. Well, there's Nick Heinley. He's knocking some people out. I'll just take some of his big hits, and then we'll put some of my highlights. That looks good. I mailed that bad boy out and said, it's me. I got a full ride to play at Texas El Paso, which was a Division I school, and they were like, we need you to be a long snapper. I'm like, oh, no shit. So I actually went to Texas El Paso, was a long snapper. That's kind of how I became a snapper. I figured it out real quick. I had a knack for it. Then I spent 2 years in Buffalo, 2 in Tennessee. I spent 11 and a half here in Philly, which was cool. Look, I played through some broken bones, some ligaments, some injuries, right? It's just part of the game, and you do it because you love it. And then I got announced. It was really cool against the Redskins. They announced as the game started. I didn't know this till about a week prior, 2 weeks prior to this game. And they're like, "Hey, ladies and gentlemen," so the place happened. Game starts. It's like the second quarter. "Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Jon Dorenbos as he ties the great Harold Carmichael for the most consecutive games ever played in Eagles history." Unbelievable, right? So, like an idiot, I'm like, very next, I tied. Won 162 straight, tied. Very next play, wrist hits. 3 surgeries. Never played a game as an Eagle after that. I was traded to New Orleans, but it was cool. This thing's been an absolute nightmare, and believe it or not, so when I was a kid and I got into cards, right, I was talking about Bill Malone. It was this sound right here, right? Just the sound of this, the ripple and the shuffle. I would sit there all night and I would just boom. I would cut cards, and when I talk about counting, this is actually pretty cool. You might not be able to see this, but I'm just going to show you this before we break out here. So that's a perfect shuffle. It's 26 into 26. Every other card, perfect. Da, 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 da. So I would just sit there and do that all day. And for me, I realized that shuffling cards wasn't about a trick. It wasn't about me performing. It wasn't about me thinking, hoping you thought I was cool. It was an escape. It was the only time I was a kid. It was the only time that the world quieted. It was the only time I didn't think about adults. When I was moving around and bouncing around as a kid, if I had a deck of cards with me, I could work on really hard moves and get lost for hours. It's how I pass time, right? And so even as an adult, when I did this with my wrist, the rehab, my whole life circles around this table right here. If I have a hard decision in life, I sit down, I shuffle. 5 minutes, a night, 2 days, it doesn't matter. But when I stand up from the table, I know exactly the direction I want to go. Magic, in high school, my buddy said, you should play high school, football. I said, no way, dude. Football's for dorks. I like magic. I'll never forget. The guy looks at me and goes, yeah, you can hit that guy and not get in trouble. Shit, that actually sounds pretty fun. So during the day, I would hit you, and then at night, I'd come home and shuffle. So I decided to do America's Got Talent because a buddy of mine kind of entered me in it or whatever, and it just kind of happened and it worked out. And now, it's funny, because as a kid, you have a choice, right? You're going to have people that inspire you, you're going to have people that motivate you and encourage you, and then you're going to have a group of people that discourage you, right? Because they gave up on themselves, so it's now deflection, and they're going to try and hold you back. And a lot of people told me, kid, you're never going to make it in pro sports, and a magician, have some respect about yourself, right? Like, who wants to be a magician, right? And for me, America's Got Talent was probably the greatest time of my life. I was competing live and going to training camp, and we were filming in LA. And so my date is scheduled in August in 2016 from about 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. I was in training camp. I had a police escort take me to the airport. Thank God for a buddy of mine who happens to have a Global 5000. That helps.
Yeah, that was tough.
It's a private plane, It's got a bedroom, shower. So when he would let me use it was awesome. If not, I had to be in the air by 6. There's an American airline flight at 6:15. Fly to LA. I'd land. I'd have 2 hours to do B-roll, interview, a rehearsal, camera block, to get back in the air by 10:15, to land at 7:15, to be back by my 8 o'clock meeting, to then go to 5, to then go to the airport by 6, to then take, and I was doing this every day, right? And it was the best time of my life because it was the moment when I kind of sat back and went, wow, for all the people that said it couldn't be done, not only am I making a living playing in the NFL, which didn't suck, I'm a magician on the world's greatest stage on the #1 TV show simultaneously. At the exact same time, my 2 loves were actually at the highest it could possibly be. It was the time of my life. So. I think about my mom every day. So my dad was tried and convicted of second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 13 years. And I hadn't seen him in 27 years. And I realized that there was 3 words I never said out loud. I never said, I forgive you out loud. And when my wife got pregnant, I wanted to see my dad. I had thoughts, I had curiosities, but nothing ever stemmed to action. So 2.5 years ago, my wife was pregnant. I remember touching her belly, and I was like, man, it's time. And so I saw my dad for the first time in 27 years. If you know nothing about my book, it's not a sports book. It's a journey of me going to have lunch with my dad for the first time in 27 years, saying, I forgive you for what you did. Because every one of us have a choice when something happens. We can either hold it, we can either harness it, we can either let it eat us alive, we can let people affect our future who no longer are in our lives. Think about that, people we know that are divorced, I was one of them, right? That there was somebody in their life that's no longer in their life, but every day that goes by, this person's affecting their life in a negative way. That's choice, right? Happiness is a decision, it's a choice. So me going to see my dad was about letting go, it was about being okay with my reality. It was about, instead of using something as a crutch or an excuse to be a failure at something, you find every motivation possible in the weakness of that individual to make yourself better, to make the world better, to make this world a better place, so that we can be better and make the world better so that people that come after us don't have to deal with what we did. So me sitting across my dad was about that. It was about me just saying, hey, look, I'm good, I forgive you, go do your thing, and I'm gonna be the best dad I can possibly be, and I wanted to feel all the pain, the anger, the hate, everything that you could possibly imagine. I wanted to relive everything that should have been, that could have been. I wanted to relive all the moments that things were happening in my life that I wish my parents were there to be able to watch. You know, I really do. I wish my dad was in the tunnel after a game. I wish my mom was, but they weren't. So instead of being resentful, instead of being bitter, it's about being okay with it and making the world a better place. So seeing him was about becoming the best dad I could possibly be, and now I get to live the child-father relationship through the eyes of a dad. And my daughter's 2.5. Her name's Amaya Love. She's the greatest thing in the world. The quarantine, look, couldn't have hit at a better time for me. Things were chaotic, and sure enough, what did I do? I spent every day at home with my little girl that was going from like 6 months to what she is now 2.5. So may every one of us do this, right? When something bad happens, it's how we talk to ourselves. Just tell yourself this: it's not happening to me, it's happening for me. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you agree with it. It doesn't matter if you want it to happen. It doesn't matter if this is what you choose. But for me, when I say it's happening to me, it's not happening for me, it's happening to me. It just changes my perspective that something good's gonna come out of this. I'm not gonna make excuses. I'm just gonna say, boom, I'm not gonna listen to myself, I'm gonna talk to myself, I'm gonna write my script, my story, I'm gonna write where I'm gonna go, and then I'm just gonna follow that path and make good things happen. So I truly believe that. It's really cool to be here at the 19th hole. When Eric called, Timmy and I thought this was really cool, and so then Eric called us, he's like, hey, this is canceled, it's never gonna happen, is it? So Tim and I were like, let's just fuck with him and just tell him to fuck off. Tell him there's no way in hell. This sounds like the worst idea I've ever heard. But it doesn't matter where we go in life. There's nothing like being a part of tradition. There's nothing like being a part of a group of people that care about one another and the energy that we feel from one another. So, Eric, it wasn't just this. It wasn't just the 19th hole. It's what you guys have. It's what we all want in life. We want to be a part of something really, really cool. So, thank you for having me. I want to. Actually, do you want to do something here as a group, real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, this is my first pig. It's way too clean over here. That suits me better. I'm gonna do this real quick. Oh my gosh, this is freaking enormous. Just check that out. Make sure it's a normal American flag towel. There we go. Hey, this is Can you guys all see this? Okay, this is a new deck of cards. It's in what's called new deck order. So here we got the ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right here. This is going to go in the wine glass, just like that. Here we got the diamonds. Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. These are in what's called numerical order. Just take this, and I just want you to shuffle them up in your hand. Yeah, and then turn them face down. Don't look at them. Yeah. Perfect. And then when you're done, you tell me.
I'm done.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. The cards that you shuffled are in this order right here. And here we go. I'm going to take, oh, you know what? I'm going to go like this. I'm going to spread these out like so. And just, sir, I'm going to go like this with my finger, and I just want you to yell out the word stop.
Stop.
Okay, I'm going to go straight down. Okay? Whatever card this is, 4 diamonds. This goes here in this glass like so. The reason we're here is for tradition, right? Spend time with one another, share with one another. I got this big towel. This is like the biggest. When you get into magic, they're like, you have to have a cool Fallard. Honestly, I didn't even know what Fallard was until Google. Check this out. You shuffle them. You shuffled yourself a 2. Life's about getting on the same page. So I got to find myself a 2. Watch. Just as good as new. Now, you shuffled yourself a 6. I thought I'd find a 6. You want a 3, there's a 3. Guess what? Get on the same page, enjoy each other's company, inspire one another. There's a 7, 7, there's a 10. You could have chosen any cards you wanted. You stopped on a 4, we reversed it, so I said, what the heck? I'll go ahead and reverse one of my cards. There's my 4 right there. And then sure enough, there's the 5s, there's the 8s right there, there's the aces. So we're gonna get this thing started.